want to just quit a job and just do the entrepreneur thing because I'm like really big on like my benefits. There's a lot of things to consider.
Yes.
And I also think about my life. Like I would have to change my whole lifestyle. I'm not ready to do that just yet.
That's why I love
So,
to tell people, like, don't just jump into entrepreneurship. Like, make sure you have a plan B. Make sure you are financially set before you decide to just quit your job and follow your dreams. Like, you got to think realistically as well.
oh, absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong. That's a goal in the near future. But my main goal was that I still want to continue to build myself professionally in the workforce so that I can have something to lean back on.
Right.
But in the meantime, like, I think I have to, when we talk about mental health, I have to make sure that I'm mentally sane. So I did have to make a few sacrifices to get to a point where I am happy, when it comes to like working a 9 to 5, but I'm happy. But again, I have to make a few sacrifices as far as like the pay, as far as with location, but I'm working from home. I'm happy.
That's another question I want to ask you because, my audience is millennials, young adults, college students, college graduates. And something I often talk about is like post college depression and overall just that transition from college life to adulthood and how that can be really hard and difficult. So do you want to expand like your opinion, your, actual educational opinion on post college depression?
I think it was meant for us to meet and have this conversation because you're like really pointing out reasons to why I started iShallBe. And now that's when I first experienced depression, was when I graduated from college and I could not find a job. It's like I was in school at FAMU, then I went back home and I didn't have a job. I'm like, I did everything right.
Right.
I graduated honors in high school, went to college. I stayed in college. I did 4 years, where people were telling you, you're probably not going to graduate until 5 or 6. And I did 4. And I'm like, and I don't have a job. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I fell into depression because here I'm thinking like I did everything right. And then, you're looking at all around you, social media,
Right.
Everybody's like living their best life. And here I am just depressed.
It's the
So,
perception of living your best life on social media too, though.
oh, yeah, I had to figure that out a long time ago. I had to figure that out. Like, what we see on social media can't technically be real. So I get it.
It
But
can
that,
be real, but a lot of times people only going to show the best qualities of themselves on social
well, right. And that's what I mean. They're not going to show you a picture of you crying.
media.
Right. If you look at my social media, it looks like I probably have the time. It's so funny. And I'm going to be very transparent with you. So you look at the last couple pictures or the last picture since, let's say, my birthday, you probably think that I'm just living this like really great life, or you think things are really good. Like these are the times at that time up until now, like I had an emotional breakdown. I left like my home like for like weeks at a time because I was truly going through it. So you look at social media, it looks like I'm okay, but you like turn the camera around, it's not okay.
Right.
And so when you talked about that depression piece, I created iShallBe because I finally found a job. And mind you, I started working like 2 months after graduation. And I got into a job that I was not prepared for. I was like, you got me working outside. I'm supposed to be a manager. Like, what is this? And so then a year later, I enroll into grad school. So then I go back to school. I'm thinking like, oh, I'm about to get a master's. I'm going to be fine. I graduate and it takes me 6 months to find a job. So I'm like, wait a second. So here I am thinking like, oh my God, I left Detroit and I'm having to go back to Detroit. And I'm just like, this can't be my life right now. So then I finally get this job. And I feel at the time it's like a bare minimum, right? It wasn't what I thought or I envisioned it was going to be in college. Because they tell you, like you're supposed to have this type of salary with this degree, but then when you get to grad school, you have, a better salary. And I'm like, I just settled so I can have something, so I can be able to provide for myself. I'm tired of like living off my mom or giving that puppy dog look face, like when Friday come, like, can you help a sister out?
I feel you. Like for me, actually, because I graduated, like I majored in environmental science. And when I graduated undergrad, I had 0 job offers. I didn't even really My mindset was so stuck on just graduating. I didn't even really look for jobs like that. And I was just like, you know what? I don't have a job. I'm going straight to grad school. So I went to school 6 years straight, went through such a traumatic experience in grad school. Like, grad school for me was horrible. And luckily, I got a job after I graduated, but it was just like, school was my crutch. School was my outlet. And now I'm like trying to transition to being an adult and being outside of school, and just, I felt really idle. And that's why I started developing post college depression, just from feeling like I was lost, feeling like I didn't have anything of value to give because I wasn't in school. So
Yeah.
it's really hard, really, when
I
you
do think universities could do, and don't get me wrong, I believe FAMU prepared me for the real world. FAMU did prepare, and at the same time, I had a lot of fun. So,
Right. I went to Tuskegee, so it's like we kind of probably had the same like HBCU experience, but
yeah. A- And I even a lot of them, and I think you can probably agree, like a lot of the morals, the standards, going to convocation,
right,
preparing for the workforce, I still use to this day. I think all around, as far as preparing us for like financial literacy, like as being a human, as being a woman, a Black woman,
right,
like a Black woman, I feel like I'm good. I have the confidence of the world because of family. Like when I went into family, came out a totally different woman for the better. But as far as like truly preparing us, I felt like even in grad school, I think it was just something they could have done a little bit better, you know. And some people may want to disagree with me, but that I just think schools in general, you get your biggest bang for your buck when you have a student who's truly prepared. Because I could be offered, you know, you can go to the career fair and you could be offered the position, right?
right,
Once you get there, you're like, wait a second, I wasn't thinking, because a lot of times they offer you these like leadership development programs, or they offer you these management training programs, and what they don't know, and I'm telling you, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but what you don't know as a 22 or 21-year-old going into the workforce in these roles, they're truly getting ready to work you to death,
mm-hmm.
right? So what happens? You're not really prepared. You about to quit. So now that you quit, you're not really, these are things that you have to prepare someone for. You can prepare them and have them look good, have them know what to say,
Right,
but you're not going to go and what I've seen in my field is that these 21, 22-year-olds today think that, they've been offered a position with this like top tier company, but they're not about to be working in the office. No, you're about to be a frontline worker. You're about to like really get your hands dirty. And a lot of people are not ready for that.